Hello viewers, and today I just thought I'd show you a little bit of Battlefield 2042 gameplay. I'm using an anti-armor sort of setup, so I've got the recoilless rocket launcher as well as those technical, very fancy grenades from the Sundance soldier.
Got your objectives. Secure those, the sector is ours.
But at the same time though, I'm probably going to be doing quite a little bit of complaining about this game because unfortunately it does feel very unfinished. If you have played this game, you will know exactly what I mean. There are just loads of little things about this game which sort of really just feel like they shouldn't be there, or they should have been sort of stamped out sort of thing, and it is really a case of this game should have been delayed even more than it already was. But starting off with this wingsuit, it is a great way to traverse the battlefield. But unfortunately, as this is only one of around about 10 specialists, she is the only one that can actually traverse that much. Lovely little pentakill there, or fury kill, whatever you want to call it. That rocket launcher really putting in the work. A single rocket taking out 5 enemies inside that tank or whatever it was. Yeah, I really like this weapon. I haven't used it all that much, as you can see. I actually haven't even got any attachments for it just yet. Takes out enemies nice and quickly, but I'm not really sure where the bullets are actually going. The chevron is... I just don't get along with these chevrons. But something I wanted to say actually about this map. I'm not even sure what this map's called. I think it's maybe called Kaleidoscope or something like that. But anyway, it looks really cool when you look at the background. You know, you've got all of those sort of buildings and all the things far off in the distance, and everything that looks semi-interesting about the map is somewhere that you can't actually go. Instead, you've got this sort of arbitrary sandpit essentially, with little bits of buildings half sticking out of it. Most of it's broken or buried, and you sort of just have to work your way through the dunes and hope that the sheer physical number of players are going to get you through to the objective. I just thought that was a really cool little move by that helicopter pilot on the other team. I used those anti-armor Seeger grenades, and he did this really cool loop around that monument. But as you can see now, as we're moving towards these objectives, there are actually 3 objectives for the B section, and it really does feel a bit like a running / walking simulator, because it's really hard to find vehicles just naturally that you can traverse with nice and quickly. Most of them you have to either find. I mean, the quad bike, for example, that was in the trailer, I have never seen one ever. I'm not sure if there are any in Conquest or if they, you know, were taken out entirely. Something that probably should be taken out entirely is that bolt, or the bolty, as people like to call it. It's this sort of extremely fast track-wheeled weapon, and it has this sort of like airburst sort of mounted gun that the passenger can use, and it is absolutely devastating to the enemy. And I'm trying to take it out with these recoilless grenade rocket launchers, and as you can see, that tiny little flimsy rail just completely absorbed the whole rocket. And then of course the bolt takes me out from around the corner because it's got these huge splash damage cannons. And that's sort of what the main thing of this game is, really. You've really got to make sure you're getting revives on, so you have to essentially stay by your teammates, and that's extremely difficult if you're not talking, and you can't talk because there's no in-game voice chat as of yet. Also, you can't see how well you're doing because there's no scoreboard, which is really annoying, and I think that's pretty much a staple of Battlefield. And to be honest, that is one of the most disappointing things, to be honest, because I want to know, you know, if I know at the start of the game that I need all 25 kills to unlock the attachment that I want for this weapon, I have no idea if I've unlocked it until I do, if that makes sense. But anyway, there's a nice little combo of the recoilless grenade. I keep saying grenade, but it's a rocket launcher. along with the anti-armor grenade, and it really, that little combo will really do a number of damage to pretty much any of the vehicles. As you can see, the tank is probably the most heavily armored weaponed vehicle, I should say, in the game, and we took it out fairly quickly along with some teammates. But now, once again, the running simulator starts all over again, and you see all these really cool looking buildings, but you can't go into any of them pretty much. You can go into some of the lobbies, but it's pretty much a case of just running over these sand dunes and just hoping that you make it, really. That's the most frustrating thing about it. And as soon as you stand still, you will get your head taken off by a sniper exactly like that. Maybe one semi-interesting thing is probably the weather effects and this sandstorm, but if anything, it's just a bit of a nuisance at taking out the vehicles, because obviously all the vehicles you can use in third person, the visibility isn't too much of an issue. But again, all it is just moving up to sand dune after sand dune, and it's almost a, you know, it looks like an interesting map, but ultimately if you strip back everything that you don't actually interact with, it's simply just a load of hills essentially. But anyway, we did make it through that little bit of that section, and we're moving forward. You pretty much have to use smoke grenades, otherwise the enemy are going to see you from miles off. I do want to try and make sure I get my teammate up, because otherwise you're going to have to run about 1 or 2 kilometers to get back into the fight if you have to spawn from the base, which is extremely annoying because there are no vehicles just sat there, as there have been in previous Battlefield games. And so we're just moving into the last area now. This is the D section. Actually, there might even be an E section, but this is the D section, and D1 is actually on top of a building 71 floors in the air, and the only way up there is either by helicopter or by one of 4 elevators. And here you go straight up to the elevator, and this is exactly what you see. I mean, it's just pretty much pointless. It's a bit of a firing range for the other team, to be honest. You don't really have much of a chance to do anything, because you're basically trapped inside what is literally a kill box. But anyway, I just thought I'd stay on the ground for the rest of the game, because that was pretty much pointless trying to take D1, so I just wanted to maybe rack up a couple of kills, get a couple of unlocks, and so I'm going to try and take D2, which is thankfully down on the ground and unsurprisingly surrounded by sand dunes. I tried to shoot that guy there, 0 hit registration, I didn't get the kill, and I'm pretty sure no one else killed him. I have no idea what happened. Got a nice little recoilless rocket launcher there, but of course you saw the hit marker, but then I got no 10 XP for the parts dismemberment, or whatever you want to call it, and so I don't even know if I actually did any damage. Bullet velocity is very weird. It's particularly with this gun, as it is a single fire, it almost feels like hit scan, to be honest. I'm leading my target even that little bit, and it's simply not hitting the target. It'll only hit the target if you are aiming directly at them, and I think, you know, that's quite off-putting really, particularly for a Battlefield game. Another thing, even though there are red dots above most people's head because of the motion sensor spam, I noticed in this little life I had here when I was working my way towards D2 that people just simply weren't seeing me. I don't know if I was somehow invisible or if I just wasn't marked, but the amount of people that ran past me, you'll see over the next couple of minutes, was pretty ridiculous, to be honest. Another annoying thing, particularly about the Sundance character with these anti-armor grenades, is I tried to lock onto that tank over there, and instead they lock on to a helicopter about 1 kilometer up in the air, which has no consequence to me whatsoever. Additionally, I've just ran out of ammo, and so now I'm stuck with a pistol. There's no ammo on the floor, and I honestly don't even know who gives ammo out. I think it's just a generalised thing that everyone has to carry, and therefore no one carries it because they'd rather have a rocket launcher or something like that. Anyway, just really running and gunning with my pistol now. As you can see, they're just running past me and they're not seeing me whatsoever. I was very, very confused, so I just thought, well, might as well go for the revive if no one's shooting at me, because if I die, I really want someone to spawn on. But this is how the games pretty much go in Breakthrough. I think the same can be said pretty much in Conquest, but it's almost in like micro areas of the different sectors. And as fun as the game is, and how you can still have those quote-unquote battlefield moments, there is something missing with this game. I will be in a future video showing you some Portal gameplay, where obviously you've got things like Battlefield 1942, Bad Company 2 and Battlefield 3, and they are some pretty awesome games. But yeah, that is pretty much it. That is pretty much the sort of gameplay loop of Battlefield 2042. But as I did mention, I am going to show you some Portal gameplay, because that is really where the game shines for me, to be honest. I really wanted Hazard Zone to be the standout feature of the game, but it's a little bit hollow and seems a little bit pointless, to be honest, because the only thing you have to really strive for is going for exfiltrations, which are pretty much pointless. But anyway, and as always, leave a like if you enjoyed this video and subscribe if you'd like to see more. Thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you in the next one.